Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Devy Planet. I am SC Romero, my co-host Spencer at Buckwild Sports, and we are here today to give you a way too early 2026 two-round mock draft. Help you prepare for those rookie drafts and what it would look like if we were drafting today. Of course, lots can change between now and then, but this is what we're thinking right now. All that and more right after the intro.
Welcome to the Devy Planet. The Devy Planet. The Devy Planet.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in again to the Devy Planet. I am SC Romero with my co-host Spencer. Spencer, how are you doing today?
Doing great, man. We're halfway through the season, getting our mock up. I'm pumped. It's been nothing like what we expected for the most part, so it's been fun.
No, for sure. It is. I will say, this still a pretty deep quarterback class. But with that, we preseason you probably would have found us have the first 5 picks all quarterbacks maybe. Now, not so much. But we'll get into that and we'll answer those questions that we have on why these guys here, if they fell, if they stayed the same, all that, and also our honorable mentions that didn't make the top 24 and that we just didn't put in because we just don't see them in the top 24 right now. But let's get into it. I do believe you had the 101. Who was your 101?
Yeah, so this will come as really no surprise to anybody who has been following what we're doing, but Jordan Tyson is my 101. Even in a year with we have some quarterbacks rising, in a year where I think we thought there would be a lot of quarterbacks at the top, Tyson is my 101. Now, little disclaimer, we didn't have Lenore Sellers in this mock. We didn't have Arch Manning in this mock. We both have them kind of as 2027 guys, so
Right.
we bumped him out. Sellers especially could maybe challenge for it, but for this, with who we had, this was a no-brainer for me.
Fair. Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know if Arch by name would have made the top list, but I don't know if we would have had him in the first round the way he's been playing. Jordan Tyson, great pick though. Now with that, I feel he's the type of wide receiver to make a quarterback look good. So that's why you do love those type of receivers. Like he can shine with a not so great, a mediocre type of quarterback and still make them shine to have a top 10 type of year. We're kind of seeing that with Sam Levet. He's not someone that is our top 5 at least. And it's just like, I just feel like it's reason for his success is Jordan Tyson, a dynamic route runner, has the reliability for a quarterback to pass him the ball and make those contested catches and just win at every area of the field. So I'm not mad that that's actually a great pick. And he might be the wide receiver one of the class. I do see him as a first round prospect, and he could be there. But moving in with the 102, this is a guy that really rose. I mean, a few years ago we said he was the QB1 of this class. Things happened, transferring to UCLA. Now he's at Oregon, and that's going to be quarterback Dante Moore. The 102, again, this is a very deep quarterback class. We will see a few go in the first round, I do believe. Dante Moore could be the number 1 overall pick. This week they do play Indiana, which we'll talk about that quarterback a little bit later. That will be a test of it. If he goes out there and wins and continues to win, there's no question in my mind that we're going to see him as the 101 come out. And that's simply because he's someone that continues to scan the field efficiently. He's not just looking down at his X or his slot receiver or his tight end or whoever it may be. He's looking all the way around the field, feeding every single wide receiver. He makes them look good. I have Dante at the 102. He was a riser for me. Any questions on him?
No, honestly, he's answered a lot of questions we had. He comes in, he's kind of like an all-around great quarterback for fantasy. He's a good dual threat. Can make stuff happen with his legs. He's, as you said, he's been spread around the ball, accurate, making the right decisions. You guys at Oregon, you got a little bit of a quarterback pipeline coming. It's first we had Bo Nix was a reclamation project. I mean, people had really given up on him, and he goes first round. And Dante Moore, people had really given up on him. He goes first round. Dylan Gabriel, people hadn't given up, but people were like, this guy's not that good. Now he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. So, I mean, you guys got quite the pipeline going on. It'd be it'd be awesome to see if Oregon can put out 3 quarterbacks 3 years in a row that are starting NFL quarterbacks. I mean,
Right.
that's exciting. So
Yeah.
I love this pick.
No. 100%. I think there is the sky's the limit for him, and if they continue to shine the way he does, Will Stein's doing a fantastic job developing those quarterbacks there. Who are we going at 103?
So 103, this was a riser, a guy that I coming into the year, I was like, man, I don't know if he's that dude. He's a solid guy, but I don't know if he's that dude. I think he's that dude now. It's Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver at USC.
Mhm.
So he's a big riser. He's probably been the best wide receiver in all of college football this year so far. I mean, it's
Right.
been like he's just under 5 yards per route run, which is an obscene number. He's getting, I think he's still around 10 yards after the catch. It was last week. I think he's still around there. And it's not that he's catching at the line of scrimmage. He's going downfield this year. He's making things happen.
Mhm.
He's been a true weapon over at USC, kind of elevating Jaden Maeva's game and that
Right.
whole offense kind of around him. The size, I was a little worried coming into the year because, 5'11", 185, 190, but he's added weight. So, I'm not really worried about 5'11", 195 to 200. That's a solid player, especially in the slot. And we see that build dominating in the NFL right now. I mean, that's Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's JSN. He's
Right.
kind of like the perfect weapon for the modern NFL offense. I think he's going to be a beast when he hits our fantasy rosters. Any thoughts here for you on Lemon?
Right. No, I absolutely love them, and I actually told someone today that if I end up getting the 102 and do something, I feel like I'm gonna be in the game Makai Lemon. Over reason being that because the quarterback class is very deep, I feel like get a quarterback later where Makai Lemon I think could slide into that. I think he has a solid role. I think he could go out there and do some fantastic things for some players and really make a big mark on everything he does. Right, so I think this is a wide receiver that a lot of people will be lucky when they draft him because he's probably going to drop, maybe 103 or maybe even further. And whoever grabs him, I think is going to have a very solid NFL wide receiver that can do a lot of things at the next level and just be a target merchant, right? Just go out there and feast on every target and do some big things after the catch and really make big plays happen. So I'm excited to see what he does and where he's going to rank in the draft boards. But as you mentioned, Jordan Tyson, I think Mekhi Lemon can challenge him for that wide receiver one of the class and can really go out there and make some big plays and be a first round prospect, possibly a top 10 or top 20 even pick, and top 10 even, I meant to say. Number 4 overall, though, this one wasn't really a question for me. Only because I feel this is a lot of people are gonna say he's the 101 or the RB1 of the 2026 classes. That's Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. For us, we talk about other running backs that could challenge him for this. I think consensus is gonna have him at that RB1 spot. So I think at this point he's gonna slide into that top 4, top 5 maybe type of picks. And people are gonna fall in love with him. I think that's great. And at this point, I think that's where you take him to be it. He's someone that's could be a workhorse back. He has the size, has the skill set to be a dominant running back at the next level. Possibly the only running back that goes in the first round of the NFL draft, and for that reason, I think he ends up being, again, a top 4, top 5 pick. Any thoughts on Love?
Yeah, I mean, I still stand by. I think Love is a very good prospect, but not an elite level running back prospect. But that said, like I think that's why 104 makes a lot of sense for him, because if he was an elite caliber running back prospect in this class, he'd be 101 because there really isn't any prospect like that. So this is a good spot for him. He's shown that he can do it through the air, do it on the ground. That first step is back. He has the roll back in that Notre Dame offense. They're running right through him. All they need is love, as you said.
Right,
So
sure.
they're making it happen. He's making it happen. I think he's kind of stayed steady here, and this is a
Right,
spot where I think it's it makes sense. I'd probably try to trade down, honestly,
for
if I
sure.
had the 104, just because to me, like, there's a good blob here, but it also, like, I think he's firmly in this top 5-ish range.
Yeah, the beginning of the season was a little rocky for him. He started to get his feet under him, and we're starting to see that momentum gain, kind of like a juggernaut mentality. But they're feeding him a lot more. Last week he did have like 4 touchdowns, I do believe.
Yeah.
So he's continuing to get more. He's gained some work at the backfield as a pass catcher as well. So again, just someone that's going to continue to rise and It wouldn't surprise me if we end up seeing him as the um 101 in drafts too. I feel that is possible, especially if he is a back that goes in the top 15 of the NFL. You might see him as the 101. People may just fall in love with him. I will say I don't think he's on the Bijan level. I don't think he's on necessarily Quinshawn level, but I do think he is someone that's going to be a solid back in the NFL. But you actually followed me up with another running back. Who are you going with?
Yeah, and I went with my RB1. That's Jonah Coleman, running back out of Washington. I mean, as a guy, we were excited about him coming into the year. I think we knew he was going to be like a solid running back, a guy that we saw some upside with, but I don't think any of us saw kind of what he's done. So it's been a big rise for him as he's kind of vaulted into the RB1 discussions.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown a much quicker first step this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's, again, by no means is he the fastest guy or the quickest guy, but I think he was more like plotter who knew where to go, and now he's got a pretty solid quick first step. He gets up to speed really well, and he's shown that he can catch passes, which is something that wasn't necessarily like his game. He's made it a part of his game this year, and I genuinely think Jonah Coleman is a difference maker. Kind of similar, I keep saying David Montgomery. That's sort of where I'm falling on the comp, and even just like the impact I think we'll see in the NFL. Where is he the pass catcher? Not necessarily, but he does catch passes.
Right.
Is he the 25 carries a game guy? Not necessarily, but he's 15 and he'll get the goal line. Right. And all of that adds up to like fantasy goodness, solid RB2 for your rosters for 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 years. So
fair.
I think that's an awesome guy to get here at the 5th pick. But you kind of zigged here at 6. Or do you have any thoughts on Coleman before we get there? I was excited about this pick. That's why I'm jumping the gun.
Yeah, no, I did do some zigging and zagging with pick 6. I didn't think, and now I'm looking at the tape. I'm like, all right, this guy could be a top quarterback that we take. But Jonah Coleman, no, if you like Trey Benson, I think you'll like Jonah Coleman. As you mentioned, he doesn't have that speed that Benson kind of showed, or Benson at least displayed at the combine for sure. But he does have that one solid step into the ground, makes his cuts and makes defenders miss, and then he's gone. So I absolutely love that about his game. He's a nice running back that has elusiveness and makes defenders miss early, and then has the open field awareness to make some big plays happen there as well. So in my eyes, like you mentioned, trading back, if you had the 104 and Jeremiah Love's there, could trade back, possibly get Coleman, and Coleman could possibly end up being the better back of the class simply because I feel he is a better pass catcher than what Jeremiah Love is. Jeremiah Love might be a better runner between the tackles, where Coleman, I feel, can kind of feast all around. And if he's on the right team, it could be a big thing. I will say with some of these running backs, Love and Coleman, for example, I do think landing spot is going to be huge on them because there's not many that really can go in and they're not going to do much as a committee back, but they could definitely do something as, a big guy, the 1-2-3 down back kind of deal. My quarterback here, though, again, a surprise. Really climbing the ranks, though. Doing phenomenal things for his team, leading the nation in yards, leading the nation in touchdowns as well. That's going to be Baylor's quarterback, Sawyer Robinson. Just a big arm, has some good size to him as well. Doing good things with Baylor. I know Baylor's lost, I think 2 games right now. Could be wrong. Could be 1. Let me double check here real quick. But doing big things with them right now. Looking phenomenal with everything he's doing. Lost 2 so far. But really staying with poise. He plays with confidence in the pocket. He doesn't let pressure phase him. He delivers on his throws. And he's really changing, I feel, what Baylor's doing with the quarterback. And I feel he is going to be a first-round quarterback when it's all said and done. And this is out of the Big 12. But he looks the part, in my opinion. He's someone that's going to continue to go there, and he could really fit that mold to be a franchise quarterback. Any thoughts on Sawyer?
No, I mean, Sawyer Robinson, as you said, big arm, big kid, like he's your prototypical quarterback size. The under the hood metrics are like a little, it's not exactly what you want to see, but I think that everything he's doing, like, it sort of gets to a point where it's like, well, who cares? Because he's been great. Kind of going at it, and he has all the tools to sort of be that dude. And a quarterback class that I think is lacking a lot of like high toolsy guys.
Right.
He's kind of like very similar to Drew Aller, except he's actually going out and doing it.
Right.
He's got the build, he's got the athleticism, but he's actually going downfield. He's actually producing. He's actually running the ball.
Right.
So I think that all of that lends itself to like exactly why you take him at 106 is he can be maybe he can be the next like Justin Herbert or the next,
Cool.
like that level of sort of
Yeah,
pocket presence who can get your 200, 300 yards on the ground and some touchdowns. I
I
mean, that's like
like.
his absolute ceiling, but you know what I mean?
I actually love that comp. I mean, you talk about size wise, they're quite similar. You talk about the arm strength, they're quite similar. Justin Herbert might have a little bit mobility, but I mean, even then, Sawyer Robinson, if he needs to, he can go out there and get the yards that he needs to as well. I mean, he doesn't have many yards on it, but he'll escape and make a play happen, right? He gets 11 yards on the season. That's including sacks and everything. But still, I do like what he can go out there and do. And the Justin Herbert comp is actually interesting considering all the quarterbacks in this class. Some people, for whatever reason, slept on Justin Robertson, right? Or Justin Herbert, right? And they went with like a Tua Tagovailoa, right? And they chose that kind of guy. Maybe they go after another quarterback here that isn't going to be as explosive or as good as a franchise type of mold as Sawyer Robinson can be. So absolutely love that. I think that's very interesting. That's someone that could possibly be a sleeper when it comes to it, and you might end up getting a QB1 of the class there. Who's your guy though? This one actually, it's your guy, I know, but it's surprising that we went this early here for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of torn between him and honestly the rest of the guys in this class, but he just is sort of at the top for me right now. While I wait to see, it's a Clemson wide receiver Antonio Williams. It's a small fall for him because I probably would have taken him where Mekhi Lemon was earlier in the year. Would have had him in that tier.
Yeah.
I really love Antonio Williams, but the injuries are kind of a nagging problem for him at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't had that big game yet as Clemson. The offense looked better last week, but it's still not humming quite as well as you'd want it to. And
Right.
maybe it's him just getting up to speed, getting back to form after the injury, but I think he's got that twitch. He can be your slot guy. He can play outside. He makes those big catches. Like,
Okay.
it's very Zay Flowers-like to me, but
Okay.
I just don't know if, like he could keep falling. Like, this is a small fall, but he hasn't
Mm-hmm.
played much yet, so I didn't want to dock him too much for that.
Fair.
But if the production doesn't come back around, he could keep falling down and down. And I think he's out of years, so he has to come out this year. He would be a guy I'm really excited about in the second, but I'm willing to take this high.
Fair. I mean, if he falls to second, that's good. I love that you said you didn't dock him necessarily for the injuries, not playing early on, because he could definitely change around. Clemson or what Kate Klubnik's doing right now. Kate Klubnik's kind of falling off. Spoiler alert: he's not in our top 24. But Antonio Williams definitely could be, as you mentioned, that slot wide receiver. He is very gadgety. They can't move him around. We've seen it at Clemson when he is the guy they use in the slot. He is a dominant wide receiver that does big plays and makes things happen for his quarterback. He made Kate Klubnik look good, and we saw when he's not on the field kind of what happens with Klubnik. He's not necessarily doing what he could do when Antonio Williams is on the field. So absolutely great pick there. 107 right now, based on what's happened in the season. I get not docking him, but there might have been other guys that would take it right now, but I understand his talent level could definitely speak volumes. And, if he's able to test the combine or his pro day, those will definitely speak volumes too. And that can easily rise him up to a 107 type of pick. My next guy, as I mentioned earlier, we were going to talk about this quarterback later. It's going to be Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Absolutely turned it around as far as what we thought for quarterbacks, at least. Again, the top three quarterbacks, I don't think we were talking about them as a first round, early first round, mid first round type of quarterback. We were probably saying, hey, this is a late second, maybe a third round for some of these guys. Mendoza's doing everything in Indiana. They have a big week this week against Oregon. It's going to be huge. It is in Eugene. But Mendoza goes out and at least performs, at least puts on a show, makes it close. Yeah, we're probably going to see him as a first-round quarterback as Kate Klubnik, Nussmeier, Arts, all slipping. We have guys like Mendoza going out there and doing some big things. So it's absolutely great to see a guy like him go out there and do it and make those kind of plays happen. Prototypical size, has an arm. I wouldn't say necessarily as the cannon, but he can make every throw. He does throw with some accuracy. And he's doing it with the team in Indiana that I don't feel like any of their other players are necessarily first-round talents. So you have a guy like Mendoza going out there and having an undefeated Indiana team right now. That's going to speak volume to NFL scouts. So they're going to say, all right, this guy might be a winner. We need to go out there and do it. But what are your thoughts on Mendoza here?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Mendoza rise. It was, it's a guy we called out earlier in the year as a potential sleeper. He's no longer no longer a sleeper. He's stepping up, and again,
Facts.
he doesn't have that mobility that I love out of a quarterback, but he does have it. You know, he's got that accurate arm. He's
Mhm.
poised in the pocket. He's quick to get the ball out. And Indiana, I mean, it's interesting because Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper have been great for him, and I think he's elevating their games actually, not the other
Mhm.
way around. And
Right.
that's what you really like to see. Like I don't think Omar Cooper is anything special,
Right.
and he's had a 200-yard game this year. You
Right.
know, like that's and it's mostly on the arm of Mendoza and how he's been orchestrating this offense. It's really good to see, and I think he can keep rising up. Honestly, like I could think we could see him by the end of the year in that top 6, top 5 range.
Fair.
So
No.
great to see.
Yeah, absolutely love it. I agree. I mean, I think he saw that Kajia rise. I will point out Amir's. He says you probably because of injury, I have 4 other receivers ahead of Williams. Yeah, and that's what we're saying, Amir. You know, he was banged up, but he definitely is one of the more talented wide receivers in this class. But there definitely is reason to dump him. We're not saying that. That was based on that talent that we see with Antonio Williams, the 22s we've seen, he does look phenomenal what he's able to do. So maybe we see the second half of the season kind of go up there and break out, and then we start talking about him further in the first round as well. Who do we have at 109 though?
Yeah, so 109 is a little bit of a sneaky guy came in here. This is Wayman Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
running back at USC. He's a big
Love it.
riser for me. You know,
Absolutely.
he's shifty. He's making the right moves. He's forcing missed tackles at a high rate. He's pushing the ball after contact. He's catching out of the backfield. He's sort of been, this USC team. USC always seems to have like issues coming together and winning ball games consistently,
Right.
but the talent that they consistently produce is awesome.
Right.
We've seen them put guys in the NFL. It hasn't always worked out. Marshawn Lloyd, I think, just because of injuries, he's never, I don't think, literally ever been healthy
Right.
since he got to the NFL. But
Yeah.
we saw Woody Marks last year come in. He came in, he took over that room, and now he's in the NFL, and he had a pretty good game with the Texans there. He's carving out a role, and I think Wayman Jordan is a lot more talented than Woody Marks, and he's
Yeah.
got more prototypical size. He has a little bit more wiggle to his game, a little more, I think, athletic traits. No one's going to say Wayman Jordan is going to run a 4.3 at the combine.
Right.
He's probably like your average athlete,
Mhm.
but I think he's enough to kind of take over a backfield and be a dude, or at least
Right.
be a good, the better half of a committee at the NFL level.
Fair. No, absolutely. Wayman Jordan, definitely so that you were mentioning earlier, they caught my eye. All right, let's go see what he's about. He's showing that at USC, really being a focal point for that. I mean, obviously they have Mekhi Lemon there, who's also nice, but Wayman Jordan's helping the run game be established so that Mekhi Lemon can get open and they're not focusing on him as well. Yeah, they had to say, all right, are we looking in the backfield or we have to go out and get this wide receiver too? So I absolutely love that pick, and I think he can be a first round rookie pick when it's all said and done, and potentially someone that has a big role in the NFL because of his ability to do a lot of things on the field. Again, he can get between the tackles, he can get small, he plays big, he has strength, he has agility, really all the things you want in a running back. He's kind of showing it. The USC running backs have kind of scared me in the past. Wayman Jordan's looking like he is potentially an outlier and can actually do the next big things at the next level as well. At 110, I want to go into what could be argued as wide receiver U. There was no way we were leading him out of the first round. I know you're not the biggest fan of him, but
No way you were leaving him out of the
Ohio
first round.
State wide receiver Cardell Tate. Look, I think he's gonna be a first round prospect in the NFL. And with that, if an Ohio State wide receiver goes in the first round, you gotta take him. Take your shot on him. And I think Cardell Tate slipping to 110. This is potentially an opportunity where we see something like a Brian Thomas. And a lot of my jazz, Brian Thomas Jr. fell to the back end of the first, and you were running circles around people if you drafted him in that rookie year. It's not so much this year with Shane Waldron there, but Cardinal Tate could easily step into that as a wide receiver too. That can become a wide receiver one for a team. We've seen it. We've seen his dominance in his catching at the high point, making big plays. We've seen his dominance just being a physical type of wide receiver and really being a second option when they had Jeremiah Stiff and still flourishing at that. Now, granted, you could say that's a lot to do with drawing a blank on his name, the wide receiver coach there, Hartline. But going out there and doing a bunch of big things, Hartline knows how to develop those wide receivers. So Cardinal Tate, I feel, is going in the first round of the NFL draft. So you're going to want to take him in the first round of your rookie drafts as well. Any thoughts on Tate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still just not sold on him being a difference maker. I still haven't seen anything on the field that makes me think like this guy's going to be a wide receiver one.
Fair.
And like again, very solid player, but it's just a player I feel a lot more comfortable in my mid-second round. But again, in this draft, I mean, like we'll talk about kind of the guys in the second round. It's not surprising to me that he is in the first round, and it's
Right.
not surprising to me that like people are pushing him up. This draft is there's a lot of interesting names, but there's not a lot of like safe quality names.
Right. Fair.
Um, and Tate is sort of more of a safe quality name than a high upside name. Like you're going to get solid production out of him. He's
Yeah.
going to make an NFL roster and contribute.
Right.
But I just don't think he's ever going to like. He's going to be a boost to your depth, not a guy who wins you a championship.
Fair. Fair. No, that's true. I mean, I could see that as well. And, it might be the team that drafted that needs that solid wide receiver too, where he ends up being that boost so that they actually utilize it, and they have it in the past because never really had one, right? You put him out there with, let's just say he goes to Atlanta and he's opposite Drake London, and Michael Penix is out there being able to feast it. We see Michael Penix being able to feed multiple wide receivers, so maybe that becomes it, right? Maybe you go into a team like Texans that don't really have something. They try to get wide receivers this year. Hasn't panned out so much with them having, opposite Nico Collins. Maybe you have him go in there and do some big things. So we'll see what happens. This next side that you're taking, I'm glad he went in the first. Who are you taking here?
Yeah, so I'm correcting my prior misconduct here, and I take Justice Haynes, the running back out of Michigan. He's a big riser for me. He's not really a riser overall in value, but for me, it was a big riser, and I think honestly for our ranks, he's really solidified himself as an explosive talent.
Right.
He had never really shown anything against tough competition. In Alabama, he was struggling to beat out Jam Miller. Like the type of stuff that, when you're looking at a prospect, you're sort of like, okay, there's a lot of red flags here. And he's put a lot of those to bed. He's still not consistent down to down, but he does make big plays happen at a higher rate than I think any other running back in college football right now. And
Right.
that's really important because that's going to get him a role. He's explosive. He's fast. He's got the breakaway speed. He's got good feet. And he seems to make the right read, especially when he gets to the second level. He doesn't always make the right read at the line of scrimmage, but once he gets past the D line and he gets going, he almost always seems to make the right read, follow his blocks really well on the second level. And that's how he's
Right.
making these explosive plays happen. He's not just like juking out two guys and getting going. He's playing smart football, and that's really something that's great to see. I want to see that carry over down to down. Want to see him get 4 yards sometimes instead of going for 20, but it's still like at the end of your first round, you get a guy who could be your RB3 with like boom bust potential. That's an awesome get, and he is a good talent to get here. And it's sort of the last of a grouping for me, I think, before we start to get into some real question marks.
Yeah, I mean, Justice Hayes really. If you would have said if this was his team when he was a freshman, it would have said this is exactly what we saw. Unfortunately, it's not unfortunately. He went to Alabama first, didn't see the same opportunity, but everything we're seeing at Michigan is exactly what we saw on his high school tape. Like the speed, the ability to break tackles, the ability to get between the tackles, the ability to go outside and make a big play. We're seeing everything happen with his home run speed. Again, his high school tape is now a reflection of what he's doing at Michigan, and he's a focal point of that offense. Well, he hasn't had a game under 100 yards, I do believe. He's out there dominating, making big plays, and reason why Michigan is winning is because they have the Wolverine in Justin Haynes out there as well. So I absolutely love this pick. And again, as I just mentioned with Cardinal Tate, if you're in the back end of the first and you have Justin Haynes there, I think this is a smash pick, and I think you're going to be happy in what you see because he's someone that is going to be an explosive type of guy. Thinking about it, dare I say, potentially Jawar Gibbs, not as talented, but that speed that you just wish, that home run speed that just happens, and next thing you know, he's an every down back for a team, and he's out there being an RB1 potentially as well. So absolutely love Justin Haynes. I think that's a great pick there. This last one, God, I hate making this pick, but again, this was based on what I'm seeing right now with NFL, what NFL scouts like, what it's going to be potentially a first round pick. If the draft were today, I think this guy is a first round rookie pick in our drafts, and that is Miami's quarterback Carson Beck. This absolutely disgusts me. I know Miami right now is ranked number 2 in the nation. I don't know why they're ahead of Oregon, but he's doing everything right now and leading Miami right now to an undefeated season and looking good. Um, I think a team's gonna take a shot on him in the first round if they continue to go down the path that they're going and winning. What he does in the playoffs could change a lot of things, but again, if our draft was today, I think NFL teams are taking him in the first round. I think we're taking him in the first round of our rookie drafts. Whether that be the back end, that's possible. But I do think Carson Beck right now is worth discussion of the first round of rookie drafts. What are your thoughts here as I see you shake your head here?
I mean, I think NFL teams took Kenny Pickett in the first round too.
Fair. And he win the first round rookie drafts too. So
yeah, no, listen, like Carson Beck, it's no shade to him. What he's done, how he's resurrected his career, like that's something that's always good to see. Like you never want to root against these guys, even if they are knuckleheads like Beck is.
Right.
But I still don't think I see the talent level enough to like get me there. He's still not like making those big throws downfield. He's relying a lot on these wide receivers to do a lot for him. Like we might not be talking enough about how like his wide receiver Malachi Tony is maybe the best freshman in the nation right now. I mean, it's
maybe you said maybe, so for sure.
I said maybe. Like he's in the discussion though, and he's
100%.
And he's got other weapons there that are doing things for him, and
right.
It's his running back who we'll get to eventually later. He's doing great. Like this whole offense is sort of humming around Carson Beck. I don't know that he's leading it. It's not like Fernando Mendoza where Fernando Mendoza is leading that offense. To me, Carson Beck is just like a cog in this machine that Miami has built.
So no, that makes sense. And I say it all the time. You gotta look at are the quarterbacks the one that makes the wide receivers good, or do the wide receivers make the quarterback good? You could argue Carson Beck is good because of the wide receivers. Let me ask you this though, because this is a guy that was formerly talked about in the first round, and he's dipped, especially after the past 2 weeks. Drew Aller or Carson Beck?
Man, like I feel like I'd probably take Aller still.
Okay, fair.
But like it's mostly just like I really dislike Beck.
Okay.
But these, the next two guys that we're going to talk about, I would take over Beck, and I totally see the rationale for this. It's not like I'm hating on the rationale. Like the NFL teams very well could love him, could take him. They could could not touch these other guys, and all of a sudden, like Beck's the guy you got to draft,
right?
Because it matters more for quarterbacks than any other position where they're drafted.
And unfortunately, it says this, as I mentioned, I think right now he's a first-round prospect in the NFL based on what he's doing. Again, NFL's looking at the wins too. They're not just watching the tape; they're looking, are you winning? And right now, he is, and he was a winner at Georgia as well. So now we're gonna see, okay, maybe this is the talent, and you gotta take it. He kind of reminds me of like a Jimmy Garoppolo. Like I don't necessarily like the idea of starting him. Mm-hmm. But you might be forced to start him because the capital is there, because he's on the right team. Like, imagine if Beck gets drafted by the Rams.
Yeah.
And Stafford is saying, all right, I'm on my last leg. Like, this is my retirement season. You're probably going to end up taking Beck, saying, all right, if they take him in the first round, well, guess what? He's stepping in there right after Stafford. And who does he have? He has Puka Nacua. He has Devontae Adams. He has weapons there that, again, maybe that's the recipe to him. Get him weapons around him, and he's the quarterback that could lead you to victory. And that might be a discussion there. Drew Aller, as I mentioned, slept. I feel Drew Aller, we're still holding out hope for him because we see the fundamentals there. It just hasn't really developed into anything. Carson Beck, we hope we see more, but right now, I mean, to me, it's enough to get him there, right? And that's what matters, right? He just needs to get there, and then everything else will speak for itself, though. Before we get into our second round, let's go ahead and do a first round recap, though. Excuse me, wrong one. We're gonna do our recap here. Number 1, Jordan Tyson, then Dante Moore, quarterback out of Oregon, Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State, Kai Lemon, wide receiver out of USC, 4, Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame, 5, Jonah Coleman, running back out of Washington, and then 6, quarterback Sawyer Robinson out of Baylor. Out of these 6 right here, does anyone surprise you?
I think Sawyer Robinson is probably the biggest surprise.
Okay.
The top 5 feel pretty chalk to me. I mean, you could even argue just the top 4, and I just love Jonah Coleman more than a lot of people. But
Fair.
but like Sawyer Robinson, I think is the biggest surprise, just where he was before the season to where he is now. It's not a surprise that he went this high. It's a surprise that he's here, and a pleasant one at that.
No, I could agree with that because I think the other guys, people talk a lot about them, especially with Dante Moore's doing at Oregon. Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, I think, are arguably the 1-2 right now. Love and Coleman, a lot of people are rising on Coleman, but everyone's been on Love. Sawyer Robinson, kind of the forgotten one there. But then the back end of the first, we have wide receiver out of Clemson, Antonio Williams, quarterback out of Indiana, Fernando Mendoza, running back out of USC, Wayman Jordan Jr., wide receiver out of Ohio State, Carnell Tate, running back out of Michigan, Justice Haynes, and then quarterback out of Miami, Carson Beck. Who surprises you here?
I mean, honestly, like all of these guys besides Antonio Williams are really like surprises to be here. I think my biggest surprise was Wayman Jordan. Like I know I called him out in the beginning of the year, but I never could have seen how good this year would have gone for him.
Right.
So I know I'm the one who took him here, but like it's one of those things where like just to see him up at this level, go from JUCO to first round rookie pick potentially. Like that's a great success story. It's a guy you want to root for, and it's a surprise to see him in the first round here for sure.
For sure. Absolutely love that. I would say mine is Fernando Mendoza, and also I made that pick too. But all these guys before the season, I mean, you could maybe not Wayman Jordan, but you said him right. But the other guys, Antonio Williams, Carnell Tate, Justice Haynes, even and Carson Beck, I feel there was rumbles of these are potential first round prospects. Justice Haynes, what he's doing at Michigan is absolutely phenomenal, and I don't see why he would stay another season. He would come out and say, "All right, I'm ready to go." Mendoza, though, I know you shouted him out before the season began, but he has really turned around Indiana and what they're doing, right? And it's actually looking nice. Again, they have a big game against Oregon. If they go to Autzen Stadium and win, I think it's he can pull it up and say, I'm retiring from college football. I'm going to enter my name in the draft right now. And he's a first round pick. Obviously, he's going to play the rest of the season to try to win that natty. But, either way, what he's doing right now with Indiana is looking phenomenal. Again, you talk about the weapons in Cooper and Surratt, Roman Hemby. It's nothing really to go running home about. But yet Fernando Mendoza is looking great, and he's doing it with confidence, with poise, has the size too. What you want in a quarterback, this is something you're going to want at that next level, and I'm actually stoked to see what he can do. And I have him as the QB3 right now is what we took him as. He might end up being the number 1 overall pick with said done just based on his draft capital potentially being number 1 pick. We'll see. But 201, that was also on you. Let's talk about who you're taking at 201 as we go into the second round here.
Yeah, so 201 is a quarterback that has risen up a lot for me, and it's TCU's Josh Hoover. He's got sort of the traits you want to see. Like he's got a little bit of mobility to him. It's not a lot, but a little bit. And he's been sort of like a high-low type of player this year, where the highs are really high, the lows are really low. He's got 2 like kind of great games, 3 great games now after last week. Surrounded by like 2 sort of mediocre games, but he's already up to 12 big time throws. He matches that with 10 turnover worthy plays. Like as you said, the highs are high, the lows are lows, but he's quick to get the ball out. He's making good reads. TCU doesn't have that like weapon. They don't have that Quentin Johnson this year. They don't have the even like I know he didn't really pan out, but like the Jalen Reagor this year. They're Jordan Dwyer looks good. And I like the player. Eric McAllister has like flashes of extremely high talent. Right. But neither of those guys are, I think, like first round NFL draft picks.
Right.
And Josh Hoover's making it happen this year. He was good last year. He's elevated already this year. He's already got 15 touchdowns, kind of pacing for that 30. He's at a 68% completion. It's just everything is pretty good about him. And I think an NFL team is going to like the traits. The fact that he's a furry aside, Yeah.
For sure.
That's going to be a tough one to get over in those NFL interviews, I think.
Yeah.
But the team seems to rally around him. So,
yeah,
I think he's going to make it happen.
If you're looking at Josh Hoover, I feel he's kind of like a potentially like a Tua, honestly, just someone that I'm not as high on, but could get to the right tier, go out there, make some big plays. He has accuracy. He can throw zips down the middle of the field, right? He does have good ball placement as well. Definitely someone that is the reason why TCU is having success. Unlike, I don't think he's going to end up like their other quarterback. I'm drawing the blank on his name. Give me one
Oh,
second.
Max.
Yeah, Dugan. There you go.
Max Dugan. Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually do like Hoover a lot more than I like Max Dugan. And again, just someone, as you mentioned, team rallies behind him. He's going to be someone that's going to be a winner. He's going to have that momentum, that energy to bring it to the team and really go out there and make some big plays. Which leads me into 202 because this is a guy that, had he not been injured the past couple of weeks, I feel we would have talked about him in the first round. We don't know when
for
he's coming
sure.
back because the other quarterbacks coming in. But that's going to be Oklahoma's quarterback, John Mateer. Now, the biggest question I have, though, is it based on his system? Because he left Washington State with his offensive coordinator, who's now the head coach at Oklahoma, to go there as well. Is it his system there for him? Like, is Mateer going to be good developing into other ones, or is he just good because he understands the system? It's what he's played in the past 3 years, I do believe. Um, is that going to be a key factor for him? But right now, I mean, what he has done in the SEC has looked great. What he's been able to do with Oklahoma, completely turn it around than what it looked like last year with Jackson Arnold and their carousel of quarterbacks. John Mateer's him, and when he's on the field, guess what? Oklahoma's a threat, and people need to watch out for them in the SEC. They could potentially run away with it and win it, but if John Mateer's not healthy or their quarterback, they may be in trouble. But what are your thoughts on Mateer here?
Yeah, Mateer. It's been a roller coaster because he came into the year and he had all this kind of like hype and talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in and delivers on it, and then the hand injury, and all of a sudden that stock is going back down to the guy who was
Right,
trending back down towards who he was preseason, and
right,
he's hard to gauge because mechanically there's a lot of things off about the way he throws the football.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works for him, sometimes it sails on him and goes right into a safety's hands.
Right.
Like, you got to be able to throw the ball consistently. He's definitely a winner. He's a good rusher, which is great for fantasy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you love that. Like, he's a missed tackle merchant. He
Mm-hmm.
runs like a running back when he takes off and goes.
Right.
But it's so hard to kind of figure out where to place him in these mock drafts. And I know some people are all in on him. And
Mm-hmm.
I think both you and I, like, we would have taken him higher. We're just not quite there yet. But we're
Right.
definitely into a point where we think he makes an NFL team probably like day 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good enough for me to sort of take a shot at this point. But
Right.
I wouldn't want to go any higher unless we see him get back to the field and start putting up
Mhm.
numbers and fixing some of those mechanical issues.
Yeah, and what he does, post injury will be a big factor in what he can continue to do as far as raising his draft stock. You said day 2, if he goes out there and just looks like normal, continues to win, we might see him as a first round quarterback potentially. Good size too, and again, the mobility will be a big factor for him. But who are you taking at 203 though?
Yeah, 203. This is a slight dip for me, but this is my guy. It's Bryson Washington, running back out of Baylor.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily as good as I thought. Like, I would have thought for sure that I'm taking him in the back of this first round coming into the year, and
Fair.
he's been very good. He's over 5 a clip. He's one of the leading rushers in all of college football. He's catching some passes out of the backfield. It just hasn't been as kind of electric as you want to see, and that Baylor
Right.
offense is really humming on a
Mhm.
whole. He got a little nicked up also, which is giving him a slight dip for me.
Right.
Because he's gotten nicked a couple times this year already, which
Mhm.
starts to concern you with his, he's got a very violent running style.
Right.
So that's a little bit worrisome, but he's done kind of everything else you want to see. To me, he's producing at a level he's going to get day 2 capital. The team is going to want to take a shot on him because of how good he is at breaking tackles and how good that contact balance is. Like, he's still a very good runner of the football and someone you're going to want on your dynasty roster.
So you said violent runner, similar to like Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
Just kind of goes in there and wants the contact to just bully guys over. It's like if he could show a little more agility, a little bit more elusiveness, it's gonna raise him a lot more. But he has a size, well, he's over 5'11", 6 foot 6'1", something like that. Just over 210, I do believe. It definitely has a size to be that kind of violence. But again, when you go to that next level, all the guys are bigger there. You can't necessarily have that kind of mentality to be that big of a player, right? So that's gonna be big on him there moving forward. But I absolutely love it. I think Bryson Washington's another running back that could potentially sneak in. When it comes to these running backs, even as early as Jeremiah Love, I feel this running back class is very bunched together. Compared to last year, it's a lot deeper in my opinion, but this year it's a lot bunched together where you just gotta take your shot. If your guy's there, you gotta take your shot on it and say, all right, I hope this is it. Hope the scheme fit works, and he's the guy that's going to break out because a lot of these guys I feel on the right team could have that potential as far as being the RB1. Last year we had 4 or 5 guys we could argue is possibly the RB1, and then this year I feel like there's kind of same mentality at the top, and then we're going to see a dip as we go on later. But Bryson Washington's really good pick. I absolutely love that, and again he's a big part for Baylor. He could be a big part for NFL offense there. My next guy here at the 204, a guy that wouldn't surprise me if he went earlier, if he went in the back end of the first year, just a riser. Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston. You talked about Jordan Tyson as the wide receiver 1. Yes, Denzel Boston, in my opinion, has similar route running as far as what he's doing in his cuts. He makes very sharp cuts. He knows how to use his length, how to really use a big cast radius to go out there and make some plays and make some stretches and bring the ball down. Field awareness of where he's at on the sideline is phenomenal. Just an all-around great wide receiver that I think you will be in love with when you see it. And again, the right team, he go out there and be the guy we're hearing every Sunday as far as a big play type of receiver. This is the guy he was waiting for us to say, Amir. But yeah, Denzel Boston, I think, is someone that is going to slide into potentially the back end of the first, and you'll be excited to grab him as well. Any thoughts on him?
Yeah, Denzel Boston's he's another good guy. It's another solid wide receiver. He's a big kid, 6'4", 205 pounds, I believe. Plays a little bit heavier than that.
Mm-hmm.
Great hands on the boundary, good body control, can get vertical. I again, another guy that I don't think is going to be a wide receiver 1 for a team, but will be a pretty good wide receiver 2, 3. He's got a little more touchdown upside. Like he goes up and gets it. But there's like those things. I think that what really holds him back is the knocks in the analytical profile. Like he's a 4th-year breakout who's now in his 5th year in college.
Right.
A lot of that is he was behind 2 first-round wide receivers. He was behind Rome Odunze. He was behind Jalen McMillan. He was behind Jalen Polk. Regardless of how Jalen Polk turned out in the NFL, he was great in college.
Right, for sure.
Washington has had a group of dudes that were in front of him, which kind of stalled his true breakout there.
Right.
And some of the, but again, on a whole, he looks the part. He plays the part. As you said, the route running, he really understands, especially like those vertical, kind of outside routes. He really understands how to make that happen. And I think he's going to be a great player.
Fair. No, I absolutely agree. And yeah, those are things to consider as well. That could be why he slips. The reason why you might get him at the 203 because people are afraid of that late year breakout and what he can do. But sometimes those late years end up developing into more wisdom of the game and understanding it. So then they end up shining, right? So it could go back and forth. And you have another wide receiver coming up. Who are you taking?
Yeah, this is Alabama's Jeremy Bernard.
Love
again,
it.
like we kind of, talk about a guy who was in front of him at Washington. Jeremy Bernard was one of those guys,
right?
Before his transfer. So he comes in to the DeBoer system over at Alabama. Last year was solid, but I think we kind of had higher expectations, and Brian Williams stole the spotlight.
Right.
This year he's been even better. He's showing all the kind of things. He's very similar to Carnell Tate, in my opinion.
Okay.
Where he's like similar size, physical guy, makes good understanding of route running, understands leverage really well, and especially like he's a great zone beater, which is more and more important in the modern NFL, where they're playing a lot more zone than they are man.
Right.
And if you can beat it, you can find the soft spots, you're going to be productive. And I think that's exactly who Jeremy Bernard is. Again, not a guy. I don't think he has high upside. He's never going to be your 1,500 yard, 15 touchdown guy, but I think he's going to be a real consistent wide receiver 3 for your fantasy team.
Okay.
Real consistent wide receiver 2 for your NFL roster. Like that's who Jeremy Bernard is. Kind of exactly who he is on Alabama. I think it's going to translate immediately over.
Yeah, I think he's going to be someone that's going to be a wide receiver that you take. You may need to wait for that year 3 breakout on him, but you don't want to necessarily sleep on it because I do think he will get opportunity. He is someone that can fit in the slot role as well and just be a solid merchant for a team. So I don't expect the big things from him right out the gate, but I do think down the road he could be someone that you can feel you can start on a consistent week. So Gaten here will be a steal, and that's how you play the game of dynasty there. I know when we kind of had a wide receiver run, I'm just seeing here. A
Yeah.
guy I'm taking though is someone that's risen my board. Kind of scarier to take in, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. That's 205. Oh, whoops. Did we go backwards? No, sorry,
No,
it's
we
just
got let's
numbers
see.
backwards.
Yeah.
So 206 really is gonna be Tennessee wide receiver Chris Brazil. Excuse me for my graphics here, making them incorrect there. But Chris Brazil really just gonna be what people wanted in Jalen Hyatt. This is gonna be what Chris Bowser is. He's just a field stretcher, but he has the ability to break free. He has the long lane to go out there and make some big plays, has some big catches, has better movement in his route running than what Jalen Hyatt did. Yes, he's a field stretcher, but it's because he's just a deeper wide receiver that can get down the field quickly. But don't be surprised in what he's doing in the middle of the field and getting open like that as well. Absolutely loving what I'm seeing in Chris Braswell, and I think he's someone that could potentially rise into an early day 2 pick. Any thoughts on him?
Yeah, Brazil's been rising up steadily, and as you said, he's kind of what we wanted in that Tennessee room from Tillman and Hyatt. As much as the Hyatt pains me
Yeah,
too much. It's too painful to talk about.
yeah, for sure. I
It's my
get
favorite wide receiver to my favorite team,
it.
and then it doesn't work out. Ugh. I
Yeah.
mean, ugh. Brazil is not that though. He's a good route runner. He actually,
Yeah.
he's got a diverse route tree. Tennessee's deploying him in a way that they haven't really deployed a wide receiver in recent years, and to me, like that's because it's so hard to tell with Tennessee because they run such a funky system that makes it
Right.
really easy for players to operate. It doesn't always translate. Brazil's
Fair.
operating at a different level. It's easy to kind of helmet scout and say that, but Brazil's doing a lot of different things,
Fair.
and I think you correctly point that out here. He's got the size. He's got that kind of technical ability. I could see him rising up even higher than this, honestly. Like I could see him. I mean, really, with
Like,
is he?
yeah, 6'5" too. I was about to say. It's like he's like
Yeah,
six
he's a
four,
beast.
6'5". Yeah, complete monster. It just again doing great things from 3 games over 100 yards, 7 touchdowns in the last 4 games. Absolutely monster. And yeah, someone that I think could be risen in potentially that late first. We're talking about what's the guys that are kind of dripping or slipping, and it's like, all right, they could potentially move into that late
Yeah.
first type of game and be a big playmaker for you. Who are you taking after this pick?
Yeah, so this is one of my dudes also, and this is sort of going to be a theme
What
towards the end of this draft here. But it's
what
wide
a
receiver
run!
for Kansas State,
Yeah,
Jace Brown. Yeah, I mean,
love it.
if you look at it, like spoiler alert, we didn't take a running back after Bryson Washington,
Uh-huh.
which is crazy. But
There's a mix up again. Sorry,
on to
I just did the numbers wrong. But yeah, go ahead.
that's okay. Yeah, no, on to Jace Brown. He's been really good this year. He missed one game due to injury, but after that, it's been like outside of that, I should say, it's been just insane. I'm pulling up the
Mhm.
numbers right now because I lost my notes. But um,
Yeah.
we got 2 games over 100 yards. He's already at 3 touchdowns, 390 yards total. He's been catching everything. He's been the guy for Avery Johnson.
Right.
He's very fast. He understands how to lose a guy, man coverage, zone coverage. Like he's a carbon copy of Josh Downs.
Okay.
It's again, like,
Yeah.
is that going to be the highest upside wide receiver in the world? No, that's why he's over here at 207.
Yeah.
Why he's fallen down. But is there the ability to be a really good contributor, have big weeks, maybe
Sure.
make some things happen? 100%, and that's who Jace Brown is to me.
No,
Your
100%.
thoughts
I
here?
absolutely love it. No, I mean you're the one that put me on him, and I'm glad you did because he does have big playmaking ability. He knows how to get the home run, but he also knows how just to get the first down and move the chains. Right? He is physical. I love that you said Josh Downs, kind of like that dog mentality where he can make it, but also someone that can run it out the backfield. He has the speed to go out there, do some plays like that. So I think he's gonna continue to rise the boards as well. Amir says, I think no fewer 6 wide receivers go first round in the NFL. No fewer than 6 wide receivers. Oh, okay. So you say 6. I mean, I'm curious to see what 6 you have. If we're assuming Tyson, Mackay, Are you saying Brown? And then Denzel Boston, I'd assume. Are you saying Antonio Williams? Curious on the 6 that you say could go. But absolutely love James Brown. I think he's someone that is going to be a solid guy. At the very uh, he's day 2 pick at the very least. I don't think he's slipping into day 3, but day 2 pick. And you'll be excited to see what he can do on the field once he gets that opportunity there for you as well. So absolutely love it. Great pick here. My next guy here, this is a guy that's just risen, and he's really been on our Devy radars for a while. The thing is, he hasn't been able to see the field. When he's on the field, we're seeing it this year. He is very dynamic. Again, excuse my mix-ups on the numbers here, but the 208 pick is going to be Baylor tight end Michael Trigg. Absolutely phenomenal athlete. We knew that from the jump. Again, just hasn't been on the field. When he is, though, that's going to be a big part for him. Now we're going to get into our tight ends here a little bit, but Trigg maybe end up the tight end 1 of the class. If he continues the trajectory that he's on, he might be a first-round pick when it comes to tight ends, and he could be that breakout tight end that we really want. Similar to what I think Michael Trigg is a healthy Michael Trigg is what we want Kyle Pitts to be at the NFL. We wanted him to be that dominant. I think that is what Michael Trigg can go up there and be. He does have the athletic ability. He has the field awareness. We saw it this past week where he snagged the one hand on the sideline and made a big play. Michael Trigg is absolutely there. Real quick, he does say Tyson, Lemon, Tate, Boston, Bernard, Brazel. Okay, nice first rounds. What are your thoughts on Trigg though? Or on Mirror's thing? Sorry.
I'll start with Trigg. Yeah. I think Trigg is like a beast. I mean, he's an animal.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like he's not the most technically refined guy. We'll start there. Like he doesn't always run the right route. He doesn't always show up to practice on time. He's got the like character issues going back a long way. He's got the durability problems, but he's an athletic freak who's found a home in Baylor. He started to come on last year, got hurt. He's fully come on this year. Like he's been arguably their top weapon. I mean, if you look at like tight end, like honestly, if you look at receiving leaderboards, Michael Trigg is like the number 1 tight end by a long shot when it comes to receiving yards. And he's, I believe, in the top 20 in receiving yards in the nation right now, which is
sure is. He's number 19.
There we go. Yeah. So he's, top 20 in the nation in receiving yards, and it's just over 400, I believe. Like he's been a monster, and
100 yards over the next tight end.
Yeah, it's a whole huge game over the next tight end, and that's like I think we could see Michael Trigg rise even higher and higher. We do. It's a trust issue, I think, because if I saw this and Michael Trigg had been doing it for years, hadn't been hurt, he'd be like in the conversation for 106 to me.
Appreciate that, Amir. We'd be talking to him about like Bowers.
Yeah.
If he was healthy.
Yeah. I mean, he's a freak athlete who is capable of making those one-handed catches, capable of bowling 3 guys over as he's running after the catch. Like, it's just, he reminds me, like Kyle Pitts. He reminds me of, like Vernon Davis. Like that's the level of,
nice.
Tight end.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about is that freakazoid who can make it happen.
And again, I mean, he was at USC, Ole Miss, Baylor. All times he's been banged up. Now he's there. So far, not even a full season, he already has more yards in all those games because he was banged up earlier, had off the field issues, and now we're seeing Michael Trigg develop into this guy year 5 in the college football. But yeah, he's going to be a standout guy. And again, if he's healthy, I'm not afraid of taking him in the back end of the first because I do think he is going to be that type of caliber where he's a game changer. Again, like you mentioned, the worry will be if he's healthy, and that's going to be a big part in adjusting our ranks and figuring out, all right, look at the health and what they've been doing. Is it something that can be re-aggravated or anything like that? If it is for Trigg, it's all right. But he is someone that I think can end up going into the league and being a tight end 1. We do have other tight ends we're going to talk about here, but I absolutely love Michael Trigg, and right now he is leading the way, as I mentioned, or you mentioned, but 100 yards over the next tight end right now, and top 20 in the nation so far, and we're just halfway through the season. Who are we taking at 209? I will let you talk about this guy because I don't like to, but go ahead.
It's gonna if he doesn't get the capital that I think he's gonna get, then you're gonna be real happy because we'll never have to talk about it again. But it's Bryce Lance, wide receiver at North Dakota State University.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Our FCS stalwart here.
Yeah. for sure.
No, he's off to another good year. He's just under rather 400 yards. He's got his three
Mhm.
touchdowns. He's got his big 75-yard touchdown on the year. But he's continued to sort of do the little things that you love to see. Him and I forget what their quarterback's name is because I don't keep track of the FCS as closely as I do FBS. Um, but those two have been quite a tandem this year. And there was a play this last week where he threw a floater into the end zone. Bryce Lance made an adjustment. I posted the video on Twitter. It was he made an adjustment midair to kind of like come back to the ball a little bit, slow up his pace, made sure he got the foot in the end zone and came down with the over the shoulder catch. And it was just a thing of like NFL beauty, the ball tracking, the body control, and kind of the no wherewithal on the sideline to make it all come together. That's the type of that's a Sunday play, and that's
Right.
what Bryce Lance brings. He is. There was some talk in the Discord this week about like, okay, talk to me about Bryce Lance. What's the deal with Bryce Lance? Like he's kind of a late breakout. There's not a lot to see here. He's getting all this hype. I don't get it. He's got some of the best hands in the entire college football. He can make a high point catch. He can get downfield. He's not going to run a 4.3, but I see him like going up mid 4.5s. He's very bursty. He can jump out of the roof. And again, that body control. He knows where the sideline is. He knows how to come down and keep his feet in bounds. He's getting day two capital. I'm beating the drum on this. And he's not owned in a lot of Devy spaces right now. And
FCS.
and it's hard. It's hard with the FCS to own him and especially like your C2C because you just have to have a burner guy in on your C2C roster because Fantrax doesn't have FCS.
Right.
So you got to pick up like CPU player like Joe Schmo who retired 3 years ago to hold the spot.
Right.
He's not scoring you points even though he's being productive. Like it's hard to own him, but I'm telling you, like if you can get a free 210, that's big in your Devy rosters. Yeah. So I think he's worth being here. What are your thoughts here on Bryce Lance? I won't let you. Won't make you talk too much about North Dakota State.
No, I mean, you put me all in. I have my reasons for not being a fan of North Dakota State, but you got to recognize the talent, and Bryce Lance definitely has that. Last year at 17 touchdowns, 75 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 17 touchdowns. That's not something that comes easy, regardless of where you're playing. I mean, you're not seeing G5 people put up 17 touchdowns, yet alone FBS people put up 17 touchdowns, yet alone NFL players put up 17 touchdowns. If you have an NFL player putting up 17 touchdowns, everyone's in love with him. So why aren't we talking about Bryce Lance after he had 17 touchdowns last year, regardless of the level that it was? Definitely a threat. He has the size. What is he, like 6'3", 6'4"?
210.
So he's definitely gonna be a playmaker. You're saying day two capital. That is a guy like him could definitely make it. And he, in my opinion, on the film I've seen with him, is this better than his brother? Well, what Trey Lance was doing there was great, but you look at it and say, all right, but what can translate that to the NFL? It wasn't. It was still some development that needs to be. It would not surprise. I feel Bryce Lance could do what he was doing at an FBS level if he was able to, right? But if you got a scholarship at North Dakota State, by all means, take that scholarship and go there and do what you got to do, right? So I'm not mad at him staying there, but it's just like, man, I do want to question that. But every time I turn on the tape and see it, I'm seeing the ball control. I'm seeing the end zone awareness to have his feet in bounds. All these things that matter at the next level. He's making all these big plays and easy someone that could slide in to a day two pick. And next thing you know, we're taking him at 202, 203 because of the team he's going to as well. So absolutely great pick there, and he's going to continue to rise my boards. As much as I don't like to put a North Dakota State guy on my radar, as someone that I'm absolutely in love with as well. I think he's doing great. Our next guy, this was 209. Excuse my, again, it was 210. I mixed it up here because 210 becomes Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about some tight ends here. Michael Trigg should be the tight end. Eli Stowers, also a dynamic tight end, someone that is going to be very versatile. They can move him around. He could play in the slot if you wish he would. He is someone that will want to block as well. But just an all-around athlete, in my opinion, someone that has great catching awareness, how to bring the ball down, someone that has great ability to get plays after the catch as well. I just think someone's going to fall in love with him and really similar to kind of what like Evan Ingram was last year. Not so much Evan Ingram this year, but just someone that you can kind of move around and make some big plays happen. Give him the right team to know how to coach and use their tight ends, and he could be a weapon for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, as you said, like I like Eli Stowers. He reminds me a lot of like Colston Loveland coming out of the draft last year. Very similar mold. Evan Ingram is that was before you said it. That's exactly the NFL guy who was running around in my head.
Nice.
Was Evan Ingram. So like we're in sync here. It's just finding the right home. He's going to do it. He moves around well. He's not going to really block much. It's not really his game. Doesn't really matter. He gets he understands how to beat zone. He understands how to beat his man. You're not going to really be able to just put any old linebacker on him. He's going to outrun him. He's a very fast guy. So I think this is a good pick, and I could see him rising up again with good draft capital into the high second, late first.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. So that's going to continue to rise. And I said in our Discord too, or in one of them, that this tight end class is actually pretty deep. I absolutely love a lot of these guys at the tight end class that can make solid impact in the NFL. But who are you taking at 211 here?
Yeah, so 211 is, this was a real tough one for me, but I went with Eric Singleton, wide receiver out of Auburn.
Got it right.
There we go.
We're back on track.
This is a real twitchy slot-based wide receiver. Auburn, Jackson Arnold just isn't him.
Yeah.
He's looked pretty rough as a passer. I think he's already got 20 sacks. Like he's on pace for just a monster number of hits, and it's all his fault. It's not Auburn's line. Like he's just holding it and running around and getting whacked.
Yeah.
And as a result, Singleton and Cam Coleman, their production has taken a little bit of a hit with that. But I think the talent is going to rise here. He's electric fast. He is a really good route runner. He's got very good hands. He's you're never going to confuse him for Julio Jones or AJ Green, like going up and posterizing a guy.
Right.
But he's going to be a very productive wide receiver, and I think that there's like high upside here with the speed to
for sure
make ginormous plays and break things downfield. I think he's a very polished wide receiver, so I really like kind of getting a guy like this at the end of your second.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The speed speak numbers. I mean, that's gonna be a big part. So that's if you're in a league that does kick returns, he might be the kick returner to make those big plays, but definitely has a great awareness of making plays after the catch. Again, just with the agility and the speed that he presents, perfect complement to what Cam Coleman is. Cam Coleman's more your physical type of possession wide receiver. Eric Singleton's more of your speedster, can get open all around the field and hit those open zones and make the big plays as well. So absolutely great pick. And we're getting to the end of the second. You got to take your shot on these Flyer guys and hope they get there as well. So great choice there. Our next one here is Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq. As you know, last six, we had 3 tight ends here. Kenyon Sadiq is not afraid to draw against a block. He can go out there and do it. He'll run with the running backs. He'll block on the edge for the quarterback. But on top of that, he's very physical at the catch as well, and will go out there and feast on some guys to get the catch over him and bring the ball down. Good route runner, good speed to him as well. Absolutely freak of an athlete. He made the freak list. I mean, he is someone that I think is continue to rise and someone I see as an easy day 2 pick. The production isn't there, but that's not due to him. It's just due to Dante Moore feeding everybody. Dante Moore's not zoning in on one guy. He's feeding every single member on that team, or there hasn't been one game where one guy has had multiple touchdowns in it. He's feeding everybody. So absolutely love Kenyon Sadiq. And you're telling me I could get him at the back end of the second. I'm going to fall in love with that. I would try to grab 212 if he's still there. But what are your thoughts on Sadiq here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Sadiq definitely is a riser in terms of what he's shown. I mean, again, as you said, the production isn't quite there. 15 catches for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, but that's pretty good for a tight end in college at this point in the season. And he's really come on, especially like the last 2 games, up to 4 targets and 7 targets versus Penn State. So I think as competition gets a little stiffer, he's going to stay out there. He's going to start to get a few more looks. But what's most encouraging is he's starting to go downfield. Last year, the ADOT was 2.4. Basically all behind the line of scrimmage. It's up to 7.4 this year.
Right.
So he's showing a little bit more of a well-rounded game. He's showing a little bit more of what you want to see. I think he's still a yards after the catch monster. Like he's still that guy. So yeah, I mean, I like this pick a lot. I'm encouraged. I could see him rising up, and he's gonna absolutely demolish the combine. Like, he's just the
100%.
kind of guy who's going to demolish it. So
Right.
I think that's a good NFL option who's going to be probably a difference maker if he can find the right spot.
Right. No, he's gonna look great. Like, fall in love with all these tight ends, and more I watch more of these tight ends in this class. I'm absolutely in love with the tight end class more than I am the QB class. But our let's go over and recap it here. Our second round. I mean, number one we took Josh Hoover, TCU quarterback. Number two we took Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer. Number three Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston. Number four Baylor running back Bryson Washington. Number five Tennessee wide receiver Chris Braswell. Number six Alabama wide receiver Jeremy Bernard. Who surprised you here?
I think Chris Brazzell, I think, is the biggest surprise to kind of rise up this high. I don't think he was really on a lot of radars to, maybe like a fifth round flyer.
Yeah.
In your 15 man Devy leagues, maybe he was rostered,
For
maybe.
sure. Yeah.
Um, and now he's all the way up here for us, like one of the top wide receivers in the class, and still rising. Arrow still pointed straight up. So
Right.
I think he's the biggest probably surprise. Everyone else, I think here, at least the name had been spoken of or talked about. There was some hype around. Brazel's the only one I think was silent. Anything for you?
Probably Hoover. Hoover over Mateer specifically, I would say, but simply because he is having a great season as well. I think there might be a lot for him to move into day two, especially at 201. You can say this is like the late first, right? You're 113, if you will, depending on your league. But him going that high, I mean, he would need that day two capital. But I actually do love the talent. I think it is there. I think he is someone that can move the ball down the field and make some big plays. And he has some grit to him as well. He wants to go out there and win. So I see it. And you have quarterbacks that are slipping that we didn't name. We'll name some in a few. You can have a guy like Hoover step in and make that big play. Now the back end, we had number 7, Michael Trigg, Baylor tight end. Then we have 208, we have Jace Brown, Kansas State wide receiver. 209, Eli Stowers, tight end from Vanderbilt. 210, Bryce Lance, wide receiver from North Dakota State. Yes, FCS, North Dakota State, Bryce Lance. 211, Eric Singleton, wide receiver out of Auburn. And then 212, tight end out of Oregon, Kenyon Sadiq. Who surprised you here?
Michael Trigg, man. Just like the comeback story from a dead asset. Do you drop him?
Right.
Like you're talking about top tight ends this year. He never comes up to 207, and I mean possibly rising even higher and higher. Like how good he's been.
Right.
He's the one that I'm most surprised to see on this list, for sure.
And he's someone that you love that story of his, right? Of what he can do, and he's gonna go out there and continue to dominate. So again, I think if he's healthy, we're gonna be talking about him as again what we want to call Pitts to be. Mine is probably Eric Singleton, the back end. I get it. There might have been some quarterbacks I would have taken, maybe some other wide receivers, but Eric Singleton nonetheless is probably going to be one of the faster wide receivers we see this year at the combine, and that's going to raise the eyebrow for a lot of NFL scouts to say, okay, we need to take a shot on this guy because he can fit some plays we want to play and make the big things happen. Again, if you have the kick return, he might slip into that role to start, but then easy develop into a solid wide receiver too, and get him opposite of a possession wide receiver, get him opposite of like a Jamar Chase. I know they have T. Higgins. Go ahead and put an Eric Singleton in the slot there. We're going to see something similar to what Tyler Boyd was doing in Singleton as well. So great pick, though. Before we do cap off, though, we would appreciate everyone that joined in and saw our 2-round mock if we were drafting today, how we think it would look like. We're going to get some honorable mentions and some guys we're missing and we knew we were missing, and they're going to be missing for us. But right now, our honorable mentions here. First, let's start with our quarterbacks. We have LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier and Arizona State quarterback Sam Levet. What are your thoughts on these two guys?
Yeah, I mean, we all know my thoughts on Nuss. It's and he's kind of, I think the value is a little bit more where I thought it should be at this point. Is he's a guy who he knows how to distribute the football.
Right.
He's not very mobile. He gets the ball out quick though. He puts it on his target. He doesn't necessarily have the strongest arm. He can't fit into those tight windows, and so. It becomes a question of like what happens at the NFL level. That's why he slipped out of our first 2 rounds, but I think he definitely deserves to be mentioned. because I think he's going to get solid draft capital. I think a team is going to take a shot on him.
Okay.
He's probably going to get a starting role at some point.
Mhm.
Sam Levitt is more like the opposite. Like, he's pure upside. He's a great runner of the football.
Okay.
He's got that dog mentality, which everybody loves in a quarterback. But and he's a good distributor of the football. But he's not. He kind of hyper targets Jordan Tyson, which so would I. So would
Right.
anyone. I mean, Patrick
Yeah,
Mahomes
you
would
have
probably
to.
hyper target Jordan Tyson if he had the other Arizona State weapons. Like,
Right.
that's it makes sense. But nevertheless, like, he doesn't necessarily go through his progression, so he's got a lot more work to do to get up to NFL level, and he's had some really bad games this year, like really bad. Surrounded by some really good games, so it's all variance. I think he still gets good draft capital. He needs to get Arizona State to get in the playoffs though and have a push. Otherwise, he's probably staying another year. But for right now, I have him projected 2026.
Fair. No, I agree on both. Nussbar, I mean, LSU took a big loss, right? But Nussbar still, I think, might still generate some first round buzz. Unfortunately, if you take him, he definitely becomes honorable mention. He might stay, even. It's just like we just don't know. I feel there's a lot to be polished around him, so that hurts. And even with Levette too, set some polishing. But as you mentioned, Levette just seems a little bit more confidence, a little bit more understanding of the game and slowing it down.
Can Nuss stay?
No,
I'm genuinely not
I,
sure because he's old. I know he's going to be 24 coming into the year.
yeah, no. As soon as I said that, no, he's not. I'm pretty sure he's.
I know because he just started. Like, last year was his first year starting, so it feels like he hasn't
Yeah.
been around forever. But he's been around a little bit, and that's part of what concerns me with him. We talked about it a lot, but Levitt, I think, has another year of eligibility, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, good shot on us. I'm mistaken that he cannot stay. But in my sense of him, it's just developing still. Like, I feel he still needs to develop. We could be talking about him down the line as one of the better quarterbacks in the league, but he needs to go to that coach that knows how to develop him properly because he is a prototypical quarterback, in my opinion. He's not necessarily going to be a mobile Roy. He's going to be a pocket presence, and he can dominate in the pockets, but you still need to see him fine-tune a little bit of things and where he's making the right throws to the wide receivers as well. So, which is unfortunate because I actually liked his wide receivers this year than I did last year. Our running backs, Miami, Mark Fletcher Jr. and Wake Forest, Damon Claiborne. Two running backs I think have a lot of upside. Two running backs I think have big opportunities. They can both pound the rock. Damon Claiborne offers you speed. Mark Fletcher offers just that vertical type of runner that's going to run through the tackles and make some big plays happen. What are your thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, Fletcher's been a monster this year. He looks like that Nick Chubb type of between the tackles runner, powerful. It's been kind of what we hoped to see from the very beginning with him. He's been leading that offense, and I mean, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. In a big way, he's turning up. Damon Claiborne, if you look at just the numbers, you'd think that he's been awesome like the whole time. Like, he's averaging 8 yards a carry almost. But a lot of that is on a couple big splash plays. The health has been an issue. Consistency down to down has been an issue. Like the Kenneth Walker light. But nevertheless, I think that we saw with Bashal Tootin, he's going to run that high 4.3 type of 40 at the combine. He's going to get probably drafted in a position where he might have some opportunities. And that upside, his value is going to go up. He's going to rise. You're going to look at the numbers and you're going to say, this is an explosive runner. And he is. That's his game. But it's not necessarily going to be consistent. That's why he's a great honorable mention, though, because it's a high upside guy that maybe you can get later. You're going to want to target him.
Fair. Obviously, love both these guys, especially if you're saying I could get them in the third round. I'm in it. Now, these next guys, I'm excited for these guys too. BYU wide receiver Chase Roberts and Florida State wide receiver Deuce Robinson. Look, if I don't walk out of every draft with Chase Roberts, then I need to leave the league because this is my guy. This is the guy I'm being the drum on as you are with Bryce Lance. I'm saying Chase Roberts is the guy. The way he moves, his fluid motion is phenomenal. He has the stretching ability, a good catch radius to go out there and make those big plays happen. I think we're going to see a rise, and I think Chase Roberts could be the next guy we're talking about as that slot guy that's just doing great things. On the flip side, Deuce Robinson left USC to go to Florida State, and he's looking phenomenal as well. Everything we wanted and saw we had getting his high school tape, it's like, oh, it's about time we're seeing it in his college tape now too at Florida State. What are your thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, these two guys. So Chase Roberts is very interesting. He's having a good year. He has those like super solid hands. I mean, sticky glue hands. He knows how to sit in his zone. He can beat his man with savviness. You know, like he's gonna go to the combine and people are gonna be like, this guy's a bum
Right.
because you know he's gonna run probably like in the 4.6s. He's not gonna probably do the agility testing, but this is a very good football player.
DeAndre
You know,
Hopkins also ran a 4.6.
there you go. Like Keenan Allen ran like a 4.8. You know,
Yeah.
like these smart wide receivers with good hands who understand how to get open, they can make it work. And Chase
Right.
Roberts certainly looks like a type of guy who could make it work.
Mhm.
So don't sleep, especially like if he can keep it up all this year, like it's gonna go well. And people are gonna be poo-pooing on him because he's gonna be
Right.
older due to the going on the mission. He's not gonna
Mhm.
have the best combine. He's a good football player, and you're spot on with this one.
And I will say, I'm glad you brought that up because BYU do have a lot of those players that are, I think, it's the Latter-day Saints that they go on a mission prior to going to college and then they come back to college. It wasn't that he wasn't there and not playing; he was on a mission, and then when he came back, he was seeing the field. So do keep that in mind when you're looking at that age gap and understanding him. He is someone that didn't go to college. What, first 2 years? Sometimes I
I
think
think
it's
it
one
took
year.
2 years, yeah.
You go on, do your thing. Great that he's doing that. But then he came back and said, "Hey, I want to be a football player," and he's looking phenomenal in my opinion.
Yeah. And then Deuce Robinson, I think what surprised me most about him, and it was between him and Eric Singleton at 211 for me.
Mm-hmm.
He's been going vertical,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks almost like a little like Mike Evansy, with
Right.
like this big 6'5", 6'6" guy just beating his man deep and coming down with it. Like that's been his role in Florida. You know, the Florida State offense. Tommy Castellanos is finding him with consistency.
Right.
I think coming into the year, we were hopeful that he would be able to carve out a role, but everyone was sort of, you know, you and I included, we're sort of like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Deuce Robinson, like, he's got a lot to put together, and he's putting it together.
And you
So,
see it.
you know, it's exciting to see. I don't know that he comes out this year, but if he does, he's a guy that I definitely want on my
Yeah.
roster.
No, for sure, because he's a bigger guy too. He could be a big play wide receiver. Tight ends: NC State Justin Jolly, and then Oklahoma Jaren Kanak. Jolly's he's gonna be a day two pick in the NFL draft. Again, this tight end class has a lot of solid guys that can do big things that are good pass catchers. Jaren Kanak, John Mateer is making him look like a phenomenal. You see what he's doing once the ball's in his hands. He doesn't care if you're 6'4", 6'5", 7 foot, he's gonna go straight through you. Or he has some good agility for his size to be able to make some plays and evade some defenders as well. So I absolutely love what I'm seeing of him. Was on my radar prior to the season. Now I'm like, okay, I need to be watching more of this kid. Thoughts on
Yeah,
him?
no, so Jolly, you know, former UConn guy, go Huskies.
There you
Um,
go.
you know, and now he's you know, he's a very athletic guy, a little undersized, but he makes things happen. He knows how to get open, and he's got good speed. Like I think you're, you know, day 2, day 3, kind of, and that like fringe 4th round or 3rd round guy. Very good hands though, and reliable guy to go to.
Right.
Jaren Kanak has really caught my eye. Very undersized is the only thing I'm worried about. Like he's 6'2", I think, 233. So you know that's tough, but the production is hard to argue with. It's 23 targets. He's got 20 receptions. That's 87% catch rate for 325 yards at 16 a catch. You know, a lot of that is, you know, it's not like he's just, you know, running close to the line of scrimmage. He's getting a 10-8 dot. So
Right.
he's making things happen. He's been a very good receiver this year. And yeah, I mean, he still hasn't found the end zone, which is like the only blemish I would say.
Right.
He's been like Oklahoma's Trey McBride, where you're like, he's a big dude. He's your tight end. He's close to the line of scrimmage. How's he not getting touchdowns?
Right.
Um,
Good compliment, Brad.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he's you know, like, I think we got to keep an eye on him. He's a tight end
sure.
to watch and a very good wide receiver when he's out there playing out wide.
Right. It's gonna be interesting to see does Mateer make him look better? But I mean, Kanak, I think, could be a solid weapon for any team, you know, moving there. The same with Jolly. I think both of them could be solid, you know, at the NFL level and making big plays happen. Those are our honorable mentions here. Again, quarterback LSU, Garrett Nussmeier, Arizona State quarterback Sam Levet, Miami running back Mark Fletcher Jr., Wake Forest running back Damon Claiborne, BYU wide receiver Chase Roberts, Florida State wide receiver Deuce Robinson, NC State wide receiver Justin Jolly, and then tight end Justin Jolly, and Oklahoma tight end Jaren Kanak. Now we're gonna just talk about 4 guys that we are missing, and we are not afraid that we are missing them. We think they will slide and continue to slide. It kind of hurt us, but at the same time, this is what happens, right? This is gonna be missing names: Kate Klubnik, quarterback out of Clemson; Nicholas Singleton, Penn State running back; Jacoby Lane, USC wide receiver; and Max Clare, Ohio State tight end. What are your thoughts on either of these guys? Are you surprised that they are really missing?
So I think that some people are going to be surprised, but I'm not. I mean, I'm surprised that they're missing at this point, just from where we had them in the preseason. I'll tell you that,
Right,
especially Kate Klubnik.
for
So,
sure.
like, I'll go down the list real quick because I don't want to spend too much time wasting air on these guys. But no, Kate Klubnik, yeah. I came into the year thinking this is the safest guy in college football in terms of your quarterback position.
Yep.
He had a great year. He's got great weapons around him. He's familiar with a system that he spent all of his time in.
Mhm.
I don't know, man. Like all of a sudden he can't find his guys consistently. He looks scared in the pocket. He's
Right.
making the wrong reads. You can't do that, especially as a guy who had question marks coming into the year. Like, will he repeat this or will he revert back to 2023 Cade Klubnik? Somehow he looks worse than 2023 Cade Klubnik. Like it's
Yeah.
not been great. Nick Singleton, it's been real bad. We highlighted last week. It didn't get better against
Right.
It didn't get better this week.
Mhm.
I mean, that's half a year. Penn State probably isn't making the playoffs, so
Mhm.
that's half of the year. Nick Singleton is under 4 yards a carry, showing no explosive plays,
Right.
no vision, and he's regressed as a pass catcher. Like that's sort of the opposite direction. Like I'm gonna give him a new award that we've come up with here. It's the Ollie Gordon Award. Um,
For sure.
Congratulations, Nick Singleton. You had a chance to come out. You had a chance to be the RB1. You put up a monster season,
Yeah.
and then you stayed, and now welcome to the 6th round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, for sure.
Jacoby Lane, to Amir's point, Lane was productive before he got hurt, but one of the things with Jacoby Lane, he can make the highlight reel catch.
Mhm.
He's got a little bit of receiving chops to his game, but what I really am concerned when I watch him, and I've been watching like a lot of USC tape. He looks pretty lazy. He
Okay.
takes a lot of plays off. When the ball's not coming his way, he's not putting full effort. He
Right.
might have the most talent out of any wide receiver in college football because he can make plays that nobody else can. That makes him look easy too.
Right.
But he is, I mean, a good half of the plays, he's not running his route hard. He's not fighting through contact. When he gets the ball in his hands, he's not doing a lot with it. That's the type of stuff that it gives me a lot of pause. And I really like the talent of Jacoby Lane.
Fair.
But I think that might have to do with why he doesn't separate consistently. I don't think he's trying to all the
Fair.
time. And then Max Clare, big name coming into the year, big riser at Ohio State, and it hasn't worked out there. I think as well as he would have wanted to. He was really productive last year at Purdue. Comes on over, he just hasn't been that productive. He doesn't look like a big athlete,
Mhm.
and as an undersized tight end, if you're not uber athletic, you're not a blocker in the world, it's going to be really hard for you to become one of the best NFL tight ends in the world.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I think he's been a fade for me. He's missing. You might be like, well, where's Max Clare? You drafted Michael Trigg, you drafted Eli Stowers, you drafted
Right.
Kenyon Sadiq. Where's Clare?
Right.
Clare ain't there. No, that rhymes.
Right there. For sure.
Clare ain't there. That's
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 the motto. That's
that's
the
the
slogan
motto.
there.
So that's sort of where I am on these guys. Where are you on these
Yeah.
guys?
No, Kate Klubnik, I thought he was going to lead the nation in touchdowns. I thought he was going to throw for like 50 with the wide receiver core he did. And really, what we saw last year in Kate Klubnik, what we see this year is what we've seen the previous seasons of Kate Klubnik before last year. He just doesn't have that it factor, and that's going to hurt him at that next level. I think Spencer Rattler was getting it together and looking consistently better. Kate Klubnik took a dip, and we've seen it, and it's just unfortunate. Singleton, same thing. I mean, he should have came out last year. He would have been a day 2 pick. He would have probably won the first round. Now we're talking about he's probably not even the top and 3rd round of our drafts right now, but you might get a steal in the 4th round. Jacoby Lane, just a field stretcher. All I see, I don't see anything big about him. I wasn't big on Jaden Higgins. A lot of people jumped on him. Jacoby Lane's kind of a similar type of guy. I just don't see much out of it. It's just cool. He's bigger wide receiver, get down the field quickly, and that's really it. Max Clare just not really doing what I want to. He might get the capital because he's at Ohio State, but I don't think there's anything much to his game. There's a lot more athletic tight ends that rather take over Max Clare. Still a good tight end, but a lot more athletic ones that rather take as far as fantasy production goes. So, yeah, those guys are guys we're missing, and we're not necessarily mad that we're missing them, but that's all we have for our 2026 2-round mock draft. If we were drafting today and guys we were getting, so go in there, see our recaps and everything we're doing. Again, this is only a way too early one. Times can change as we progress, and they probably will. As right now, that's where we have it at, leading the way with Jordan Tyson, Dante Moore at the 1-2. But for everyone joining, we appreciate y'all joining in. Don't forget to tune in on Saturdays when we are here talking top 25 matchups and players we are starting and sitting at the college level. If you're into CFF, great show for you to go in there. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We love communicating with y'all. Follow Spencer on X at Buckwild Sports. Follow myself at the Devy Planet. We are here for y'all to answer all those Devy questions and make sure you're dominating not only your leagues this year, but also in years to come as well. For everyone at the FFU, for our Dynasty Dogs, Mike and Rich, for our guy on the Adjusted Rates, Jeremy, for Jesse, who's with us every Saturday at the Fantasy Roundtable and the Start Sit Show that is every Sunday morning, hour and a half before kickoff. Don't forget to tune in. We are here for y'all. We appreciate everyone that's joining in. Until next time, peace.
FFU. FFU.